Hello and welcome to my follow-up video of um, Kill Team Into the Dark review. So this one I'll just show you what I've built, give you a bit of info on the kits, my personal experience with it, and um, yeah, I'll show you the books and what else comes in the box as well, because there's a couple of other things I didn't mention in the first review, mainly because I didn't notice them, also because I was a bit mindful of how much time I was taking with it. So let's just get into it, shall we? So first off, I'll show you the crew I've built. So basically, I've built half of each. So I've built 5 crew warriors, basically, and I've built a crew hound. And then I've built 4 of the Imperial guys and a little whatever it's called. I forget now what it's called. But anyway, um, so these kits, fantastic to build. I did have some difficulties with a couple of bits, which I'll explain in a moment, but the detail on these is absolutely phenomenal. Um, I'll insert a couple of pictures of the kits um, and insert it on the video if I can. I'm sure I can do that. And I'll also have a video playing while I'm talking of me building the 2 kits, and you might see me struggling with couple of bits. So, yeah, this is the leader guy. He comes on a 32mm base. I have 2 criticisms. My first one is this arm. In the picture, his arm is slightly different position from this. This is the only way I could get it to position nicely without it leaving a massive gap. Generally, the crew were fine. You just have to dice up, lining up the arms with the guns. It's not the most easy thing to do, especially with if you're a beginner. The crew helm was easy, 2 halves of the body and then the head glued on. Overall, though, the crew were fairly simple to glue together. I haven't done too much in the way of removing mould lines. I've drilled the barrels, but I haven't really removed mould lines just yet. You've got the long rifle there. I think that's just a normal crew warrior. I can't remember what he's called, but I really liked him because he's got like the robotic leg and he, looks like he's been through it a little bit. It's going to give me a bit of an opportunity to do some. I might try some non-metallics on these. It's been a while since I've done non-metallic metal. I can't remember what he's called. One of the 2 of the poses are a little too static. Oh, my other criticism for the leader guy. They've given him a tactical rock. When will GW stop giving tactical rocks to every single character? It doesn't make sense. Into the Dark, all of the scenery, the tiles looks like you're on a Space Hulk or in a ship or that kind of environment. Yet they've got him stood on a flipping rock. I might try and sculpt around it. I didn't even think about it until I glued it all together and glued it to the base, and I thought, I should have cut it off and glued like a box under his foot or a Space Marine helmet, anything. Why do they have to do this all the time? There's other ways you can make a leader look imposing. Make his dreads longer. Like got make his dreads hang down rather than be spiky. Or make his dreads like come out to here. Why give a tactical rock? There is 0 imagination in that Games Workshop design team. 0. And it's really pissing me off. But sorry, I had to get that in there. Another couple of things. With these Imperial guys, some of the parts were ridiculously small, which made it incredibly difficult to assemble. This guy, his right hand that holds this thing, I think he's like a navigator or something. That is in 3 different parts. His hand, that, and then his arm. So, sorry, 4. Ridiculous. Um, these were very fiddly, and case in point, I think it's this guy. Yeah, this guy. You had to glue the sole of his boot to his boot. Why? I do not understand that. They absolutely tried to cram the kit with pieces and parts. Now, I understand that. That's fine. But if you're going to do that, then I'd appreciate a couple of copies of parts so that when you drop one of these tiny parts, when you're trying to get them off the sprue, add doubles. Not only that, but I can't really demonstrate it with the Crete one because the Crete one has plenty of space. But on the Imperial one, the spaces are so small that getting clippers into the sprue on some pieces is incredibly difficult. Um, incredibly difficult. To the point where I ended up going in with a scalpel on one piece and slid along the side of it, and it had 2 or 3 keys on it to remove. Wasn't impressed at all. Also, for such a new kit, the crew aren't so bad, but these guys, the mold lines are horrific, and they seem to have given up with the whole trying to make them go together so that the mold lines are hidden. They've got mold line. They've got key points attaching onto the shoulders. There's an actual line that's part of the design. The mold line is more or less on that groove of the design, making it so that you're going to have to file away some of the detail to get rid of the mold line. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Plus sides is the models are beautiful. They're detailed without being too busy, which Games Workshop are also extremely guilty of doing lately. It's why I didn't finish painting the Leagues of Votann models. I just thought they were awful. Too much detail. But again, they had loads of tiny parts, so I couldn't see what the point of it was. Some of it was, but I'd love GW to explain to me why every other leg was fine, but this one leg they had to cut the sole of the boot off and put that onto another part. That was incredibly difficult. You can imagine. I've got a bit of a nail at the moment, so you can see it's about a third of the size of my little fingernail. Now I don't have big hands, and you're trying to cut that off when it's got. I think that had at least 2 key points. It might have had 3. Whew. So that's my negatives. On the plus side, the models are extremely beautiful. I love the size differences between the crew and these. I'm just going to call them Imperial Militia. They've got some fancy name that I keep forgetting. Onto the terrain. My God, there is terrain for days. So all I've done so far is glue half a dozen walls. Again, the mold lines on these was horrific. You might not be bothered about your terrain, but I want all my stuff to look decent. They've got really, really thick mold lines running along all of here. You can see where I've started cleaning it up, but it's still not good enough. I mean, that's going to show there. It's really bad. Really bad. Most of the walls were just a couple of parts. This one was just a wall, and then this bit here that glues on, which is why you've then got 2 mold lines. You've got a lot of. I was saying about magnetising the doors. I didn't even look at the kit properly. They're all hinged. They're all really nice. There's different shaped doors, which I thought was a bit strange. They're all meant to be like the same environment. I don't understand why you've got some doors that shape. Other doors like this very small wall here that are, oval or kind of oval with the flat sides. Whatever shape that is, I don't know. But I love these shapes, so I'm not so sold on this one here. But it's a small niggle. Again, the terrain, wow. It's fantastic. Really well detailed. I've built more than them two. I've got this one here. The door. It's a little stiffer on that one for some reason. I did look at maybe painting them first and assembling afterwards, but I wanted to get them built, and I didn't. Assembling and then painting and then gluing poses are the difficulties. So yeah, it goes that way up. Sorry. Um, yeah, I did enjoy building them, but uh, removing mold lines is the bane of my life, and these are some of the worst kits I've ever worked on when it comes to removing mold lines. There's a wall there that doesn't need any additional parts. You can see they've got these on here that so they can attach, but I probably will look at magnetising. Next thing is going to be getting these paint on all these, and then I will upload some paint videos. But what else came in the kit that I didn't really mention and didn't even realise? So obviously the dice, they're quite nice. I like them dice. Uh, 2 lots of cards. I'm guessing they're for each faction. All of these tokens, which no doubt will get lost at some point. A lot of people upgrade and buy, 3D printed or PVC style tokens or whatever. Now I've got a 3D printer. If I ever get some transparent coloured resin, I'll probably print my own. If I find a good sculpt or good design. These are the tiles. I don't know what they're made of. Oh, they're just card, basically. They look nice. They really do look nice, and I'm quite impressed with them. How well they'd last if you're gaming with them regularly, I don't know. One thing I mentioned, but was that how thick the core book was. Well, it was 2 books. So you've got the core book here. You got all your rules. Yeah, you got your rules. Obviously, you got some colour stuff. You got some bits on terrain. Some nice artwork. You've got the different types of character. More cooler. I mean, some of that artwork's amazing. It's really making me want to get out my oil paints and paint some canvas of some Warhmmer because I've never done that before. And then Into the Dark book, which is obviously purely based on. I'm guessing it's going to be like Rogue Trader. I love how they paint the crew. I want to paint it in this style, but I'm gonna. You've got loads of cool narrative names, operations, Imperial Navy Breacher. That's what they're called. Yeah. I do really like how they've painted. They've got a few different examples of how they've been painted. I mean, they're like an off-white kind of grey paint scheme. I really like that. You've got all your different stats for the units in here. So, equipment, strategic assets. I don't even know how to play the game, so it's a bit hard me trying to. You've got different, you've got Krieg and you've got your Tal there, you've got your Space Marines and your Chaos there. It's a bit obviously your Orcs and your Blooded Traitor Guardsmen. They got kit out and the Corsairs. People went crazy for the Corsairs, I believe. Excuse that alarm. Sorry about that. Yeah, and then there's the back page of the Dark book. It tells you what you've got there. Killzone key reference. So, until I read the rules, I don't really know the understanding of it. But look, you've got different maps, which is really cool. I like that because you don't have to work out the best way to play the game. They've given you some good ideas, and something that got me really excited was I had an epiphany while I was gluing it all together, all the parts. There's still a whole load. So everything I've glued, there's 2 of each. So you imagine what I've shown so far. I've got all of this. So if I move the crew out the way for a moment, I don't want to crush them. Got all these walls. Got them three. I've got that. This is all double. I was doing one of each and turning to the next page, and then I realised, why have I still got so much left? Because there's two of everything. Yeah, I've done all of them. There's still a whole load of corners I've not built. There's still some pylons and some pipes. There is a lot in this kit. A lot. Which, you know, that is one of its massive, massive selling points. But while I was building it, I thought, oh, Zone Mortalis for Horus Heresy. Boom. That is what I'm going to, I'm going to aim to build a Horus Heresy army early next year. I'm going to hopefully get some Horus Heresy stuff. I'm probably going to get the Age of Darkness box and then a few other bits 3D printed as well to make it more of an army around about Christmas, New Year time. Then I've got a painting competition coming up, so I won't get to do much. But next year is going to be building a Heresy army. At the moment, I'm kind of not really doing much in the way of painting my own stuff. And then I'll be I'm going to try and get an Age of Sigmar army done before Christmas so that I can have a game with my brother over the Christmas New Year period at some point. But I want to get this kill team done stuff first. Yeah, so I've built half of the box, nearly. I haven't done half of the train, but I'm not far off. But my next thing is paint these Imperial Navy breaches. There we go. I remembered. Paint that half of the terrain, or nearly half of the terrain I've done so far. I can showcase that in videos, show how I do it. There'll be a couple of really in-depth guides on there that I do. I'm going to try and come up with a really. I got curious on how they did the bases. They've literally just painted the bases by the looks of it. I wish I'd have thought of that, because if I had thought of that, I would have smoothed these down with some sandpaper, because it does have that light texture to it. It doesn't really match the battlefield for the tiles. I could probably still sand around the feet and everything. I just want to take away that kind of rough texture. I don't know why Games Workshop still continue with that texture. They could just whatever. I've been too critical of them. I've said enough bad things about them already. At the end of the day, the box set is fantastic. The models are fantastic. I just don't like how they made the sprues, and there's a couple of really poor design choices in my opinion, like the tactical rock. When I know why they've done it, because these are going to be accrued models going forward, and you'll be able to play them for 140k. I get that, but why the need for tactical rocks all the time? It narrows down the narrative for your games. It narrows down the painting choices. It narrows down your abilities to convert and all sorts of other things. Come up with your own ideas. That's my 2 cents on it. But anyway, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it, and hope to see you for the next one, which will be the next box review will be a Targaryen Heroes 2 review for Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire. So thank you very much, and I'll see you for the next one.